Oh, wait, me first. Good morning. Good morning. I was going to say the ukulele music, love it. Just makes me feel so happy. Makes for a great Saturday morning start up. Okay, I know we have a few of you here. Let's say hello to Cindy King. Good morning. Barb is here too. Who else is here? I know there's another one out there. All righty. You let yourself know. You let yourself tell us who you are and we'll say good morning. Cindy, I know I'm really excited for today's show too. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. You got a sneak peek when I first came online because my screen was in share mode. But I think you're going to like it. I did a little prep work, so we're not doing the whole thing, trying to get through the whole thing. Oh my God, I did it again. I'm really terrible about this, aren't I? First, it should say 14 weeks till Christmas. And second, it should be kind of a hint as to our subject. In fact, I should have put faceless because that's what we're going to do today. We are going to look at a portrait and we're going to figure out how to digitize it for the new trend. Well, I don't know if it's new, but it's really popular right now of faceless portraits. Now, I've seen them drawn, I've seen them in embroidery. I think it would make great holiday gifts. Can you imagine if you did one in Cindy pops off and says she didn't want to say that my sign needed to be changed. Yeah, my sign needed to be changed. I'm sitting here, 15, 20, 30 minutes before the show, and I'm sitting here just waiting because I'm watching the clock. And I don't even think for a moment to change that silly sign. But anyways, the portraits. Can you imagine if you did one for a little 3-inch um, embroidery hoop Christmas ornament or a throw pillow for grandma's sofa that has all the grandkids. Um, a gift for that special couple that have just gotten married. I think he'd laugh at me, Cindy. Yeah, you go ahead, laugh at me. Um, I think this is an awesome idea. And I have to admit, I was a little intimidated by it at first. I did something similar to this um, back for a friend of ours. Cindy, you might know her, Jo Rita. I met her at the Applique Getaway in Texas last year, and I saw her again this year. And she asked me to take some pictures and convert them to portraits. In fact, let me see if I can find it because I have copies of everything that I've done for everybody, or at least that's my goal. So I'm sitting here looking. Um, Joe, that's a J. J-O. Where'd it go? Where are you? There you are. And now these are not faceless because she wanted to have the faces, but I did this for her recently. She said that her daughter did not have a family portrait, but we took four pictures and I put them together, and this is what we came up with. I'm sure I'm sure she's gonna love it. I know her daughter's gonna love it. So that's something very similar to what we're gonna do. Only we're gonna do it without faces. Cindy's right. Let's go back to Joe Rita for a moment. Joe Rita does these amazing scenic embroidery. Oh my goodness. I should have her on the show. We should showcase some of her work sometime. You guys would just love it. And she's only been doing digitizing and embroidery for 4 years. Cindy, do you recall how old she is? I know she's past retirement. She's has not worked outside the home for many years, but she's amazing. So here, let's go ahead and get started. Here is the portrait that I picked out for today's work. Here, let's see. I want to be there too. Nope, that doesn't do it. I'm flipping through. There we go. This is today's portrait. These are my grandkids. Actually, I'm the step grandma. Um, there are five of them. It's a beautiful portrait, and I thought this would be perfect for doing our project today because there's very defined outlines. Yeah, you're right, Cindy. I'm pretty sure. Going back to Joe Rita, she started embroidery, like I said, 4 years ago. Um, she's in her 70s. She's amazing. Her work is amazing. Like I said, I'll have to showcase that. And thank you, Cindy. Beautiful grands. They are beautiful. They are beautiful. I wish I got to see them more, but the picture is worth 1,000 words. So let me show you what I got started here. I'm going to unhide all. So as you can see, I did get a lot started. I saved Joseph. Joseph. I saved Joseph for last. Um, but let's take our artwork away. And this is ultimately what we're working towards. What do you think? Is this something you can get excited about? Yeah, I know. I'm excited too. Okay, so how do we do this? Well, in embroidery, pathing is everything. With this style of work, I save all the pathing for last because um, my focus is on getting the lines in place. So we're going to get started. I'm going to bring up just the one. Here we go. Yep, just the one screen. You guys can all hear me, right? And I'm going to bring the artwork back. There's Joseph. Now, I don't know if you noticed, but what I did was I picked out very defined elements. So that's what we want to do here with Joseph. Okay, Julian's leg sits on top of Joseph's back. Joseph's back is behind Ruby's arm. So ultimately, what we want to do in our pathing is make sure that parts of Joseph get stitched before the other parts. But like I said, we're going to deal with pathing later. Right now, I just want to enlarge my space so I can see. And I want to pick up my line tool. Now, I'm doing these all in a 1 millimeter line, okay, because of the size I'm working at. Now, if I want to make it smaller, I need to keep that 1 millimeter line, but I'm going to have to look at how that works when we do smaller. Now, let's see. Like I said, I'm not going to worry about pathing here because I just want to get the lines in place. So I'm going to jump from one side to the other as needed and pick up the major elements. For example, this is the collar on his shirt. Okay, shall we see our progress? Let me go back to 100%. Take away the artwork. Can you see that that's a collar on a shirt? This is the arm, though I might want to come back later and round that up just a bit. Pick up our tool again. Connect the two pieces. Here's another part of his shirt. Of course, his hand is in there. Of course, we're not going to try to fabricate his hand. Oh, look. Got some of Jaden's legs back here. Guess I ought to pick those up, right? If she comes and looks at this after it's all done, she's going to say, where are my legs, Gran? Where are my legs? Okay, so we've kind of got a rough idea of his oh, sorry, I paused here because Cindy had a question. Would you use some of the lines from the arm and baby's foot for Joseph? Yes. In fact, here, let's go back to that for a moment. Remember I said Joseph was going to ultimately be passed behind the baby. Oh, where's my, there we are. Um, oh, that's not what I wanted. That's what I wanted. Joseph's ultimately going to be passed behind the baby. So, whoops, where am I going? What am I doing? This line, what color do we want to make it? Let's make it orange. We'll go back. This line is going to be back. Those two lines are going to be back behind the baby's foot and Ruby's sleeve right there. All right. Um, once we get up here, this is Rose. Rose is going to contribute a line here that's going to, what is that? Looks like it might be some sort of blanket or some sort of jacket. Definitely not Joseph's hair, is it? Okay, let's see what we can do with this. So this is going to get connected in with the baby. I think I'm going to change colors so you can see. How's that sound? That's going to eventually get in with the baby. And then we have this. And again, I'm not quite sure what this is, but you know, it's there. Now, so now that we've connected Joseph to just about everybody else in here, here's the fun part. We're going to get his hair in here. And Joseph has beautiful, gorgeous hair. I know it's something in the family because his grandfather, my husband, Irvin, also has gorgeous, beautiful hair. Of course, he likes to keep it really short, so I don't get to see it that often. But when it's longer, just before hair cutting season, I get to run my fingers through it. All right. Don't forget the little cleft in his chin. Yeah, I think that cleft's too much. Let's go back up here and get rid of it a little bit. Where am I? This digitizing live on. Let's see. Let's back up. All right. Here we go. And change the colors. Gonna go to full screen here. You ready? Oh, Cindy, you're right. Cindy's speculating that space behind Joseph's hair might be a hood of a jacket. Of course, I wasn't there when the picture was taken, so I really don't know, but we could speculate. You ready? Here we go. Gonna take the artwork away. What do you think? It's really not that hard to create this faceless portrait. You just find the lines of the major elements and go with that. Cindy wants to know if I used the nodes when I edited his chin. Yes, let me just go back up there and I'll show you. Come back down here and scroll over. Where'd you go? Oh, there it is. Zipped right past him, didn't I? What I did was I selected the line that I wanted to make my edit to, and I went to the Reshape Tool, which is located here on this particular software on my particular screen. And I don't know if you can see it, but yes, I made adjustments at the node. For example, and we can always remove this, right? Here, I just placed a node in place, and I just moved it. Of course, we don't want to give him a curly Q in the side of his face, so we'll get rid of that. And we'll go back to fit. Yeah. And that's the Grand family. Now, what do you think? Would this not make a great throw pillow? If you go smaller or just take out particular elements, let's see what we can do here. What if we did a copy, moved over, got rid of that, did a paste. Let's group it and center. Looked at our sizing. We're going to size it down to not 80 millimeters, not 60. Let's do 70 millimeters. 70. And now we're going to fabricate a frame because, that's what we're going to put this in. What do I want to do here? And move you up just a little bit. And JAYDEN 2022. create text, and delete, update, enter. Sometimes it doesn't take. And of course, we're going to change this size. There you go. Merry Christmas. What do you think? Oh, Cindy's got a good idea. Let's go back over here. We could go, let's pick up Jaden's name, copy, go back to our design file, do a paste. Of course, we'll edit this. We'll take away the 2022. What do you think? Do, do, do. I like it. The names would be nice. Yep, because, 20 years down the line, people are going to say, wait, is that Jade? Oh my goodness, that looks so much like her. So here I am again, trying to, yep. Okay, so that is the line portrait, the faceless portraits. That is this year's trend. Is this something you think you can do? Now, I was watching, scrolling through Facebook earlier because, that's what I do. I was scrolling through. Oh, look, I forgot to change the oranges here. Da, and da. I was scrolling through, and somebody said, well, how do you do this? How do you do this with the picture? And they suggested taking a piece of tracing paper. Maybe you don't digitize. Maybe you're going to send your image to a digitizer, but maybe you want control over what lines are going to show. So take your picture, and just like a digitizer does, you're going to put your picture, your portrait, on a drawing surface, and then you're going to put a piece of tracing paper over it, and then use your dark pencil and start drawing the lines. And once you have that done, you can scan it and send it to your digitizer, and they will create the design file of your dreams. That's what digitizers do. Um, and yes, Cindy, I love how this looks. It's just amazing how the lines, outlines really show the person. Just like with Joe Rita's pieces that I did. Yes, I could take all the faces out of here. Let's see, did I digitize those separately? Yeah, let's see how far we can go here. Oops, where'd you go? Ungroup. And look at that. There it is. That's just, that is it. That's another faceless portrait. Um, and you're right. It you can clearly identify. How about pathing? Oh gosh, you're right. We should do that, right? We should do our pathing. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and close Joe Rita's file because, I don't want to change anything. Don't want to miss anything. And we'll go back to ours. Now, in your pathing, I like to do things in sections um, because I don't want things to lose its registration. I don't want Ruby, for example, to slide way over to the left. So what am I going to do? I'm going to decide what gets stitched first. And ultimately, actually, I'm going to look at this differently. Ultimately, the image, the part that is furthest away, is Rose. Let's see if we can change Rose's color. I'm going to come up here and take the baby and put the baby back to green. Do, do, do. Because we don't want to affect the baby yet. The baby whose name is Julian, named after John Lennon's son, Julian. Big John Lennon fans. My stepdaughter is, and the Julian's dad. Let's see. Where are we? Let's see what we got here. Okay, so we have isolated one person in our design files. And within that, we need to decide what gets stitched first. Oh, that's Julian's ear. Okay, so we're going to stitch the shirt first. So what I do is, so as to get my pathing, I determine what I'm going to stitch first, and then I start moving the elements in place. So I just moved this element to the bottom of my my page because I want that to stitch first ultimately. Now, this line here of her shoulder should stitch before the remaining part of her blouse. So I will take and create a running stitch, a travel stitch, going from the end of our first line to pick up her shoulder, which now have both been moved to the bottom of the path of the page, which now allows me to take the rest of her blouse and move it to the bottom. Do you see how this is building? Now we need to get this other shoulder in place, but we don't want to create a jump. We want to try to minimize our jumps. So we're going to again create a travel path. Ultimately, that travel path is going to go under. Oh, sure, Cindy. Hold on just a second. Does that help? So sorry, everybody. So here, I've created another travel path. In fact, let me enlarge this for you. There. And that will ultimately go underneath. It will travel under Julian's hairline. So we'll change that to our color. We're going to take her shoulder and bring that down. This is her neck here. We're going to bring that down. And here we need to make a decision on our pathing. Do we want to continue going up and around? Or do we want to come back over here and grab this neck and then just go the other direction? Either way will work. You'll either travel up to the left to pick up the ear. Actually, you'll pick up the hair because the hair is going to come behind the ear. Or you can travel right to pick up the neck and then come and pick up this ear. So again, it's just personal preference. Me, I'm going to go around her chin to pick up the other neck. Change them both. Oh, look at this. What do we see here? We see a piece of her blouse that didn't get picked up. Where should that go? Ah, I see. And I use colors to help me find things in the sequence. So I know that this orange needs to come somewhere around the same time as this lime green. So I am going to take the lime green, which I just created. Actually, I'm going to find the orange. There it is. And I am going to move it down to the lime green. And I'm going to put it behind the lime green. So what happens is we will stitch the lime, then it will stitch the orange, and then it will continue. Ultimately, it will, Cindy. Cindy wants to know if I could use that orange to connect to Jaden. Ultimately, it will, but this particular orange line belongs to Rose. So I want to make sure that it gets stitched with the Rose elements. If if later it becomes more natural to include it with Jaden's elements, then I can move it again. But right now I'm doing each person individually so that they lay in place. Does that make sense? And of course, that is a digitizer's pathing discretion. You may approach the pathing totally different. I'm going to systematically go through each person. So now that we've done our lime green, we've re-added, we're going to change that back to our blue. Our orange is now in its correct location, so we're going to change that back. Our travel line, remember that? We had a travel that went from here to here. Well, it still works because this line also ends in the same place. So we can go back to where we were. Now, I'm going to pick up another travel, and I'm going to connect here to her ear and bring that down. And then I want to put her wisp of hair underneath her face and hairline, just because I think it will look better with these ends covered. So at this point, I'm going to take another travel, go up to this first wisp, move it down, travel, second wisp. Did I get it? No, I did not. There we are. Move it down, travel, third wisp, move it down, change all of these to blue because they're where they need to be. I need to go pick up the ear. Nope, you're right. I need to go pick up the hairline in the back and then the ear. So we have another travel. Pick up the hairline. It's now in place. I don't need to travel to the ear because it's right there at the end of the hairline. So put it in place. Then we're going to find the last two elements of her section, which is her upper hairline and her face. Going back to, so now Now this one is complete. This is rose. I know. Um, so I'm basically going to uh, apply closest join. I know that there are those out there that will physically double check all of the starts and stops. Yes, I could do that, but I do trust that I've laid this out correctly. And I do trust that the starts and stops are going to be where I need them to be. And of course, in my world, the test stitch is going to prove it out. All right. So I am going to, again, like I said, closest join. Then I'm going to group them and I'm going to lock them in place because I don't want to do anything to change Rose's placement. I might change my mind later, but for right now, she is done and set. Cindy says I make it so easy. Well, I've been doing this for a little bit. Someday, if you decide to go all out digitize, you'll make it look easy too. Okay. So we're not going to path all of this. Just wanted to give you an idea to my pathing thoughts. And I want to tell you, oh, look at this. Those are also part of Rose, but they're far enough away from her primary portrait that I can then incorporate them into the next person. And that next person, actually, I'll incorporate them into Julian when I do Julian. But Julian is actually going to come after Joseph. So by looking at our layout here, Jaden is going to be next, and then Joseph, because, here I am trying to just color code these guys. So we've got Rose. We're going to do Jaden next. Then we're going to pop over here to Joseph. Then we'll do Julian. And we'll finish with Ruby. Now, Joseph's feet are way up here behind Ruby. And this is part of his leg. But because they're far enough away from the primary Joseph elements, I'm going to incorporate his feet and his leg in with Ruby. So that is my thinking with regard to pathing. And Cindy's over here laughing at the comment I made about her being an easy digitizer and making it look so easy. She will. Joe Rita, Joe Rita, you were, everybody, this is Joe Rita. Oh, this is not Joe Rita. That's Big Kitty. But Joe Rita, we were talking about you earlier. We were talking about your work. In fact, I had in our conversation regarding Faceless Portraits, we were talking about the portrait set you had me do. And how this whole faceless portrait thing had me kind of intimidated at first. Um, I don't know if you recall, but you asked me to do this project for you months and months ago, and I had been hesitant, and I've been researching, and then finally I figured it out, and I did it. So your portrait is what inspired me to try this. So Jorita, thank you very much. Jorita, we were talking about your work, um, your embroidery work, and I'm going to put it out there. Sometime in the near future, I would love to have you live on my broadcast so that we can showcase some of your work and talk about it. But that's for another time. We're already at 39 minutes, and we're pretty much done here. Are there any questions? What do we want to talk about next week? I'm going to put myself back up here. What do we want to talk about next week? Oh my goodness, look at my hair. It's getting longer. You know the thing about about keeping your hair short, so you have to get it cut more often because it definitely shows. Barb says to have a good weekend. And Jorita, thank you very much. Thank you very much for trusting me to do that portrait for you. Cindy, what do you got here? Great show. Maybe out of town next week. That's okay. That's why it's posted on YouTube so you can go back and look at it later. So we'll think of something for next week. Um, if you have any thoughts, any ideas, give me a message. How long have you been up there? God, big kitty. Um, if not, I'll figure something out. And I'll try to remember to correct my board. Joe Rita, you and I are going to talk. We're going to figure out when is a best time we can do this. Um, might be a while because my initial thought is Applique Getaway. We can sit down and have a conversation at the show next year. Okay, well, I'm going to go. You guys all have a great weekend. We'll see you online. I'm going to, where'd it go? Because I'm terrible with this. I want to do my end video. You guys, bye now. Have a great weekend. Have a great week. We'll see you soon. Wasn't that fun? Do you have more questions? Do you want to learn something new? Join me at quicktostitch.com for coffee and conversation, and we'll talk about it. Embroidery machines, designs, and business. Hope to see you soon.